With us now is Paige Irene Bruns. Welcome to the show, you beautiful filmmaker. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to have you on. Now, I had a friend that I grew up with, and she was in a beauty pageant with me, and her name was Suzanne. And she went to Ringling, but she actually learned how to become a clown.
Oh,
But you
okay.
have a degree, because back then I think that they taught it there. But you actually have a fine arts degree. So tell us
I
about
do.
your journey.
Yeah, film was not ever something that was in the cards for me. At least I didn't think that it was. I kind of stumbled into it out of nowhere. And started doing some theater, and then really started to develop a love of acting. And so for a while, I thought that that's what I wanted to do, and really kind of went through that whole process for a few years of the actors world with auditions and doing a lot of theater. As I started doing more and more auditions, I very quickly realized that I was not cut out to be an actor. Being in a room full of people with eyes on me all the time, whether that be an audition room or the set, was just not something that I was ever going to get used to. So I kind of took a step back from that, but was still very involved in like my high school theater program because I still loved acting, just not in high pressure situations. And one day my theater director came up to me and said, "Hey, Paige, would you be interested in doing a student directed one act play?" And I was like, "I don't know, like why? I don't know anything about that. Why would you ask me?" And I ended up doing it and absolutely fell in love with directing. And then from there went on to school to study film, and the rest is history.
And you started your own production company. You went back, I believe, to the Midwest, right? You have a Michigan-based film production company, and it's called Affinity.
Yes, it's called Affinity Insight Pictures.
Okay.
And I actually stumbled into that as well. My plan was to go directly to LA after graduation, but I graduated in May of 2020, which was like the height of the pandemic. And I was not about to move to LA, a city that I barely knew with no one, no support system there. So I ended up moving back to Michigan, where I'm originally from, to be with family for the quarantine. And through that process was really just reintroduced to the beauty of West Michigan, and very quickly became passionate about bringing film to the area. So started looking at what the possibility was and ended up starting the company.
I think it's fantastic what you did. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm also kind of a Midwesterner. And Jenna, who introduced the two of us, she also graduated right around then from Hofstra, and she really couldn't find a position. And I invited her, because I've known her since she was 9, to come and work with the show. And she specializes in finding people and great stories just like yours. And I would love to hear about your project Anchor.
Sure. Yes. So Anger is a short film that tells the story of Haley Emerson, who is a very bright, very independent college student who experiences a traumatic sexual assault at a party. And then simultaneously, we explore how the handling of that situation has affected all of her relationships, including with her best friend.
When you write about things, they often say that you should write about things that you know, right? How did you put this piece together? What was the concept, and was it hard to work on something like this? And what are you hoping the outcome will be for the people, your viewers?
Yeah, so for me, it was a story that I wanted to tell for what felt like forever. But the timing just never felt right. And then I kind of had a realization moment where I realized in society, we look at criminals as always innocent until proven guilty. But when you take a survivor of assault, they are more often than not looked at as the villain until they're proven to be the victim. And that was a really hard thing for me to wrap my head around. So that kind of was my way of working through those emotions, and pushed me to say, okay, now is the time to make this film. And then in terms of like the process, it was a lot of talking to survivors. Going into the film, I knew that if we were going to make this, I wanted to do it in the most real and honest and authentic way that we possibly could to show the harsh realities of this situation. So I did a lot of talks with survivors. And then my actress Sierra, who played Haley in the film, was actually a survivor herself. So I had countless conversations with her about the script to make sure that everything we were doing was true to the situation.
I applaud you. I congratulate you. I wish you the best in all of the festivals that you're going to be entering, and the things that you're going to be doing with this, and your ongoing continued success. I love filmmakers, but in particular, I am sending you the biggest hug and energy that I possibly can muster, because I know big things are going to be coming forth from you. I can
Oh, thank you.
it just resonates with me. I've interviewed so many people now, like over 9,000 people. And when I spot a winner, I can just feel it. I know that we're all going to have big, big projects come in through your fingertips. So thank you so much. So nice to meet you, Paige. Paige
Thank you so
Irene
much.
Bruns. Paige Irene Bruns. And is there any shout out you'd like to give to somebody in your life that's made a difference for you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people. I think my parents. They have been so incredibly supportive from day one. And I know when your child comes to you and says, I want to do acting, or I want to be a filmmaker, it's a little bit like, are you sure? But they never doubted me and have supported me from the very beginning. So I wouldn't be where I am without them.
That's wonderful. Well, 'tis the season for thankfulness and celebration. And we just thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, happy journeys to you, my friend. Be well. Bye-bye.
Thank